Hi, I've been binge watching Teen Wolf, the 2011 edition. And I got to thinking the other night back to when I was in my early 20s. I imagine running through woods to fight in some kind of war for independence or freedom or against some evil threat of some sort. Now, none of this really sounds like me, even in my 20s. But it did feel good to remember those days when I thought I was powerful and had hope that I could, through my efforts, change the world. Unfortunately, at that time, although I was filling my oats, I was also ignorant and naive. That's not to say that all young people are, just that I was. And as I thought back, I once again also felt that ignorance and naivete. But I'm not that girl now. I may not be as energetic or strong, but I'm also not as immature, inexperienced, or gullible. I have changed. I've become a different person. As time passes, we all become different people. Even those who seem to remain the same virtually change in small ways, and some of us change drastically. So we are not what we've thought or believed at one time or what we've done. We're what we think and believe now, and mainly what we do now. And our now is all we are, and all we have to view ourselves as. I've often said when I look back at my past, that wasn't me. It wasn't me because the me that exists today wouldn't behave that way. Maybe I'd be bolder. Maybe I'd be calmer. Maybe I'd be kinder. Maybe I'd be crazier. But the point is, I'd be different. I am different. And sure, it's easy to look back in hindsight and say, oh, I wouldn't do that again. If I had it to do over or given a new opportunity, I'd do this or that. But that's not all there is to it. We've aged, we've matured. We truly are not who we were. Whether we believe that our actions are determined by chemical reactions in our brain cells or by some spirit or soul inhabiting our brain, we're not that 10-year-old or 20-year-old or even 50-year-old if we're in our 60s or beyond. No grown person is a 2-year-old he or she used to be. We all recognize that. While brain cells can live as long as we do, they change their minds, which is, if we're guided by them, why we change ours. Again, a small child will react differently than a grown-up to adversity, to fame and fortune, to anything. And if instead of our brains we're guided by a spirit within us, surely anyone who believes in a spirit believes it can develop and grow and transform. That's the whole point of being made new. Thus, no matter what we once were, we are who we are today. And that's all we have to answer for. That's all we have to be recognized as. I know I'm being redundant, but I want to drive that point home. Don't allow anyone to judge you by your past behavior. The person who told a coworker he was going to hell in a handbasket because he was an atheist was not you. The person who judged a female friend because she was in a romantic relationship with another woman is not you. The person who argued for weeks on an email discussion list that smoking cigarettes is a sin is not you. No, all of those things were done by a former me. But I'm sure you have some stories of your own. Don't let anyone judge you for your past thinking, your past words, or your past actions. And this is good advice whether you're a Christian feeling bad about some sin you committed, or a former Christian who feels bad about having judged others for their perceived sins. If we have overcome bad behavior, then we are not the perpetrators of that behavior. On the other hand, don't allow anyone to deny who you once were. Sometimes people want to tell you that you never were what you know you were. For instance, they might say, you don't believe in Jesus now? Well, you never did. If you're not a Christian now, then you never were. Yes, you did, and you were. People like to think that what they are is the very best thing to be. So they think that if you once claimed to be what they are and left it behind, well, obviously you couldn't have been that because nobody would leave behind what they were. Yet even their own Bible denies this. Hebrews 6, 4 through 6 says that if you once were a Christian but fall away, you can't be brought again to repentance. That means, if the Bible's correct, that you were indeed once a Christian. Denying that is just another one of those ways some Christians deny their own book. The thing is, the person you were is why you are who you are today. That person fought for you. That person studied and struggled and battled. That person took the heat so that you could rise from his or her ashes and be the person you are and love today. So love that person too. Honor and respect that person. We should appreciate and be proud of the work we did so our new person could emerge. Don't be embarrassed by your old self. More importantly, do not judge your own self for your past thinking or actions. Again, it's not you. If it's not you today, then it's not you. If you're ashamed of something you did that you'd never do again, well, stop fretting about it. If you once judged and condemned people as sinners and no longer do that, then you're not that person. If you once held to beliefs that you now find not only incredible but also evil, that's not you. You are a new person, the person you are today. After all, old things are passed away. Behold, all things will become new. So, forgetting those things which are behind, reach forth toward those things which are before. You have become a new creature. We can apply biblical language to anything. Now I'm talking to myself here as much as I am to anyone else. It's easy to fall into the trap of looking back. So, to quote the Bible one more time, remember Lot's wife. Moving forward is what we do. It's how we become the person we want to be. Now, none of this means we can't or we shouldn't apologize or try to make amends. A huge part of why I write articles and make videos today is because I spoke openly and publicly when I was a Christian. Had I been quiet then, I might be content to be quiet now. But I wasn't, so I'm not. I was out there with my religion, and I want to be out there with my lack of religion. It's not easy to make radical changes in our lives. It takes courage. We naturally get pushback from those who want us to remain as they are. So if you need help to move forward, then do whatever makes it easier for you. Alter the outside to match the inside if that can remind you that you're shifting or blossoming or being made new. Join groups of like-minded people. Take on a different persona by changing your habits, your hair, your style of dress, or even your name. I am Saoirse Winsong. I'm not Ernestine, which was my birth name. I'm not Ernie, which was my childhood nickname. I'm not Tina Ray or Christina Elizabeth, both names I've used in the past. I am Saoirse Winsong. I've legally changed my name several times in my life. I'm sure some people wonder why. Some even judge me for it, as if I've committed a sin or a crime or at least caused harm in some way. But I enjoy having new and different names, and it helps me to grow and change. We all have a right to remake ourselves at any time, and I would even say that as we grow and learn, we have a responsibility to do so, and that responsibility is mainly to ourselves. Honestly, I'd hate to think I'm the same person I was 40, 30, 20, or even 10 years ago. So don't let anyone, including yourself, hold you back. Sometimes others will say, I like the old you, or I want the old you back. Well, when we grow, we change. Or sometimes we just realize that we were actually a certain way all along, but we simply didn't understand who we were, or maybe we didn't have the courage to speak our truth. If we want to be genuine people, and surely we all do, we owe it to ourselves to express the true person we are at any given time in our lives. Don't be afraid to be yourself, and don't allow anyone to deny who you are. If you don't want to be recognized by your dead name, whether literally or metaphorically, don't answer when it's called. And by that I mean, of course, that we shouldn't fall back into old patterns. We shouldn't allow persecutions to cause us to question what we know is true. We know who we are. We have a right to live our truth, speak our truth, and be confident in our truth. I recently had a friend to ask me to keep quiet about my lack of belief in the veracity of the Bible. Now, he made sure to say that he was asking, not trying to force. But what if I asked him never to speak of his faith again, never to quote from the Bible, never to try to convert anyone? He'd think I was crazy. But it's the same thing when he's asking me to do it, although I'm sure he doesn't realize that. I have the same right, privilege, and duty as he does to say what I believe is helpful to humanity or others, even if the powers that be disagree. To paraphrase Sarah's words to Jareth in the movie Labyrinth, they have no power over us. Belief systems come and belief systems go. Who we are has more to do with our behavior. If we are decent people, if we try to help when we can, if we try not to cause harm, which we all do from time to time, we should probably put the idea of judgment out of our minds anyway. We're human. We do good, we do bad, and so does everybody else who attempts to judge us. And the truth is, the God most of them use to pass judgment on us, Yahweh, well, he's 1,000 times worse than we are. One last thing. If we're not ready to share the new person we've become, or the old person we've been hiding out of fear or whatever reason, that's okay too. It's still us. It's just the us who isn't willing to make ourselves known to the general public. And nobody can tell us when or if we want to do that. We are free. Free to be loud, free to be proud, or free to hang about in the shadows and enjoy our lives quietly. And freedom is the meaning of the name Saoirse. So this is Saoirse Winsong, signing off. Bye.